Welcome to Pack Mates, a podcast about Magic the Gathering Limited, where we take a dive into the current limited formats. The Pack Mates are a group of helpful card sharks that love drafting, hanging out, and going to F&M. Don't forget to check out our socials and join the Discord. Links are in the description. I'm Ryan, the aggro expert.
I'm Andrew, the mid-range expert.
I'm Robi, the resident turtle expert. And
we are the Pack
Mates.
Mates. Hey, that was good.
Yeah, it's a lot easier in person.
Wow.
Yeah, you might notice that we don't sound like we're talking over Xbox Live. We're actually in person this week. So
yeah. This week we did Robi had this great idea to do some draft sims and then proxy and play each other with March of the Machine cards. And so we're just gonna riff on how we feel about this format.
yeah, rather than do the full set review, you can kind of get that all over the place nowadays. Tons of people do that, right?
Yeah. And we'll post our raw data on the Discord, our Excel sheet of our grades.
So
Yeah,
it's still
course.
there for sure. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
good
thought
order.
we'd give you something that other people don't do. So
Yeah, we got to draft this set 2 weeks before we're really going to draft it now.
kinda.
We're drafting against bots,
Ryan, go ahead and give us your
draft.
obligatory disclaimer on how
Draft sim is
a lie.
Is a lie. Yeah. These decks will most of these decks will not exist in real life.
Yeah.
We've had at least 2 decks with 6+ rares in them, and probably less than 8 or 10 commons.
Oh my gosh.
So
None of mine were like that. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
I had the most self-restraint.
you did. The decks are very pushed. Yeah, we're gonna start off with Andrew. Andrew had a sick deck. I think his deck kind of took the night,
Ooh.
so we're gonna let him.
He had the most rares though. He had
the
equal.
second most
Yeah.
rares
Well,
compared
yeah.
to the legendary.
No, it was tied.
It was tied.
It was
At 6?
tied.
Okay. It's tied.
But you just played that deck way more than I played this one too.
I did, but I enjoyed it. I thought
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I ended up drafting Golgari, splashing white for Talia. Was it Talia? Yeah. Talia, and the Gurtog monster. Wow, I got to get these going. It's a 4/4 legendary creature for Asband colors for 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 black, and 1 green. You get a legendary creature, human frog horror, with now this is a laundry list of abilities, so it was very good.
Yeah.
First strike, death touch, good combo. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponent control enter the battlefield tapped. Important to remember that. And then whenever Talia Gurtog monster attacks, sacrifice a creature or land, and then you draw a card. This card was gas.
That's not a May ability, Robi.
That's true.
It isn't.
You won the mill game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because I was 1 card short of milling that in that one.
And I just didn't sack stuff.
Yeah, that was a weird game to begin with, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to play that deck day one for sure.
So when I started drafting this deck, I kind of looked at this incubation and I was like, I want to be doing this kind of stuff. Incubation is this new. It's kind of new to the set actually. And so what you do when you incubate is, so the card will tell you incubate X, and it'll be maybe 1, 2, whatever it may be. Some of them are bound, some have X abilities. So when you incubate, you create a incubator token, which is it comes in with counters for X, so it'd be incubate 2, put 2 counters on that. And then for 2 mana, you can transform that artifact, and it becomes a 0/0 Phyrexian creature with the +1/+1 counters on it, for as many counters as it had on it. So it just flips over, and it's a creature now. You can do this at instant speed.
Yeah,
This
and they
whole-
have haste, kind of. They don't
Pseudo,
really have
yeah.
haste, but
It's like pseudo haste.
Yeah,
right?
because they transform, they don't actually exile themselves and come back, so they're just sitting there. And
Yeah.
very mana efficient is something that we found when we were drafting, and I think we all kind of had some sort of incubation in our decks, and we all kind of thought about that was going to be the right way to do it. But by far the all-star in my deck was Glisten Dawn. I
Yeah.
mean, this card was just absolutely nuts.
It's horrifying.
It's a sorcery for 2 green, 2 colorless. You get incubate X twice, where X is a number of lands you control. You're like, okay, that's kind of cool. And you realize, wow, I get to do that twice. And so you do this on turn 4, you got 2 4/4s, and you just crack them. You get 2.
It's like Worm Coil Engine.
It's like that.
Yeah.
But then when you get to those deep portions of the game where you're putting 7 counters on that, and now you're getting 2 7/7s for 4, you do have to pay the extra 2 to awaken them, yes, or to crack them from their shell. But for 8 mana, getting 14 power on the board is just insane, or X. I mean, the potential is super high on this card.
It felt nutty when I played against it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was nuts.
Like when he resolved it, I think I asked him like what, and then like I just realized I was gonna lose. There's like nothing that I could do that was gonna beat, because he made like a 6/6, and like he had another card that doubled one of them and made it a 12/12.
Yeah.
And it was like, and like on turn 6, it's a 6/6 for 6, and then another 6/6 in the bank. Like it's just so dumb.
It was pretty nuts to be able to do that. I like it because they dodge sorcery removal on your opponent's turn, so you can just crack them at the end of turn. You crack them on your turn, and they've been sitting there the whole time, so they don't have summoning sickness. But the card that we were talking about that he said doubled their power was actually the signpost for the incubation, or for the Golgari people. Elvish Vat Keeper. It's a 1 colorless, 1 black, 1 green for a 3/3 Phyrexian elf. And when Elvish Vat Keeper enters the battlefield, incubate 2. So you get a 2/2 artifact with 2 counters on it. Or you get an artifact with 2 counters on it, and then you can incubate that. But for 5 mana, you can transform target incubator token you control and double the number of counters on it. So for 5, boom, just double it.
You're making 10/10s, and yeah.
Even
It's so scary.
like 4/4s for 5, like as an engine seems really good. I think incubate is super good when it comes attached to something else that's kind of worthwhile. Do you think it's fine to just incubate by their self, like cards that basically only incubate?
I was kind of wondering that because like there is that blue common sorcery that just says incubate 3, draw a card for 3 mana, and I don't know if that's worth it. It might be like.
Yeah, like I think it definitely could be. Like there's some enchantments going around that like Phyrexians do, like bonus stuff, like have vigilance, or
like I'd probably play like a 5 mana 3/3 that literally just draws me a card, right?
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah. I wonder if like we didn't see all the bounce in the format.
Like one of the
Oh, there's not a ton. There's three.
There's
There's
the
3,
common.
but one's a battle.
One's a battle, and then there's the common one that costs 1 if it targets an attacking creature.
Yeah, that one seems sick.
Yeah, that one's actually very good.
And then there's like a convoke one.
Draft Sim doesn't like to give you that one.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I was definitely looking for it. But
yeah, one of the ones that I thought was kind of interesting was this converter beast, 3/4, or a 3 colors, 1 green, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to incubate for 5, and it's an 0/1, and that's kind of like what you guys were talking about. But this is almost like a sorcery.
Basically,
like,
you feel like a
really do much,
0/1.
but it's like wow, 5/5 token on that. It just feels good.
It's like a 5/5 for 6 with a jump blocker, right? But like,
Yeah.
I'm saying, is that good enough though?
It might be. I felt pretty decent when I played it, and even like I was only at 4 mana, and I was like, even at 4 mana, just like cool. I get to space that out a little bit and just fly in there for 5 next turn.
A lot of the incubate does feel low key, like foretell kind of.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison, right?
Yeah,
Because like
I could definitely see that.
I can see it too, because you're like paying the 2 to make it like cost. You're like kind of paying in like installments, right?
Yeah. You
Super
can,
interesting.
but you don't have to, right?
Yeah, you don't have to if you don't need
I
to.
remember when you guys compared this. I didn't get to play very much of Amonkhet, but you guys were talking about how this was kind of close to a mass. Do you guys kind of feel that incubation is close to a mass?
Amonkhet didn't have a mass. That was War of the Spark.
Was it War of the Spark? Okay.
No, because you can go wide with incubation
Yeah.
tokens. You couldn't do that with a mass. A mass just went tall because like it
Oh, okay.
only stacked up on 1 token.
Okay.
So it seems like incubation's almost like better.
I did
Like-
notice there was one game where Ryan was playing where he must have had 4 incubation tokens, right?
Yeah, like it just can go crazy sometimes. Some of
Yeah.
the rares are ridiculous, but like it feels more like clues or food or
It doesn't though.
like
'Cause,
they're
the
better, but they're
creatures
better.
are
Yeah,
so much better than like gaining 3 life, right?
but they're like attached to cards at the same rate, kind of as those stuff was.
And that's what makes me think it's like so pushed. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Like it might be a little too much, Loki.
Like, okay, I have a card here that I think is playable, and I got to play with it some tonight. I'm curious what you guys think. So it's called Traumatic Revelation. It's a colorless and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature or battle card from it. If you do that, player discards that card. If you don't, incubate 3.
Yeah. I
Like-
ended up playing that, and it was actually super strong.
Like I think it's good enough for sure, right?
Yeah, it's like main deckable,
I
genuinely.
played 3 of them in this deck just because I wanted to actually try the card. And one time I hit like Thalia, and then all the other times I just made 3/3s on turn 3.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's pretty decent, genuinely. I was like surprised at it. Like you get the information, but you also get like almost like the pack mate treatment.
yeah, like it's almost a
Cyril's
rules pack mate, right?
Yeah.
Like pay 2 on turn 2.
It's like almost not
we like
quite.
Solroos packmates around here, right?
Yeah. And like it's just always sitting there, and it feels safe, and you're gonna have 2 mana laying around eventually, right?
Yeah.
And you just cash it in whenever, like whenever you want.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think like cards like that are good enough. I had another white one that's like destroy target non-creature artifact or enchantment and incubate 2.
Yeah, it's like a disenchant, right?
Yeah, it's one in a white. So you can destroy a non-token. That's important because it can't kill the incubation tokens.
Yeah.
Artifact or enchantment and incubate 2, or you can just incubate 2 and then transform an incubate token for 2. And that felt like super playable because floors it's a 2/2 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upside it's a 2/2 for 2 that kills an artifact or enchantment, which is like very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, the incubate stuff just felt sick. There are some like super high costed enchantments that I don't know if they're quite good enough, and all they do is incubate and give your dudes a keyword.
But like they
might
give
be.
the Phyrexians keywords, right? So
Yeah.
they might actually be worth it. I've looked at them. I haven't actually played them.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yes.
Robi, you kind of had a spicy brew this tonight as well.
So I definitely had like the weirdest deck out of, I think, genuinely.
Yeah, it was.
So I had a companion in my deck. I had Umori the Collector, which if you didn't play in Ikoria, you probably don't even have any idea what a companion is. So like you have to follow like these weird deck building restrictions. And for Omori, it is you have to have each non-land card in your starting deck shares a card type. So what this means is like you get it's basically like your commander, Loki, and it's like in exile at the beginning of the game, and then like if you meet the deck building restriction, then you get to basically pay 3 and return it to your hand. Which did you guys play during Ikoria at all?
Yeah.
So you know companions? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
They had to nerf them because they were so good.
Yeah, they
They
definitely
literally
nerfed them into
paper cards.
oblivion. Yeah.
They changed what the keyword did.
These
it was
are-
like unheard of.
These are post nerf companions for sure. Like it definitely didn't feel as good as it did in Ikoria.
They were banned in
But-
Legacy in like a week.
Yeah, because it used to be you didn't have to pay 3. They were just free.
Yeah, and
Like,
they weren't even in your hand.
Yeah.
Your opponent couldn't activate them. You could just add them to your hand whenever you wanted.
Yeah, so they couldn't just like they couldn't
Thought seize you.
thought seize you at
Yeah.
all. Yeah. It was so stupid. But
Yeah, it was like playing Commander basically.
yeah, so basically with Omori, I had to build a deck of all the same non-land permanent, which obviously the only non-land permanent that you could get 24 of in the draft is very clearly creatures. So I had a straight up 24 creature deck. And nobody thought it was good at all until they actually played it. It was like kind of okay, genuinely. I just had like a bunch of backup guys. The ability that puts a 1/1 counter on a creature whenever it enters the battlefield. Lots of O1s with backup, and also it was kind of like a weird counter deck, right?
Yeah, what does backup do? I think this is our first time talking about
It
it.
puts a +1/+1 counter on any creature, and if it's not the creature that has the backup ability, it gets the text on the bottom half of the card. So like let's say something has like vigilance. If it has backup too, you can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature and give it vigilance too until end of turn.
Yep.
So it's kind of nutty.
Yeah, and like at first I was kind of hesitant about the backup stuff because all of the backup creatures are basically like below rate if they don't put the counter on themselves.
Yeah, like Enduring Bond Warden is a 0/1 for 1.
Yeah.
Like, and this deck's just like full of terrible garbage looking creatures. Like literally like the worst looking creatures you've ever seen. Like I have like 4 0/1s in my deck.
Yeah.
But it was kind of doing work. Like I beat Andrew's sick, actually good deck. The first game we played, I just like curved out like a madman and just got him. But yeah, it's 24 creatures, literally 0 removal. You have Omori.
Yeah.
So yep. It was fun. It was a super fun deck to play.
There was like a lot of decisions to be made. He let me play with it once too, and it was pretty
I
fun.
made everyone play it, and everyone was like,
Yeah, I really didn't want to.
like,
I was grumpy about it.
It had a lot more game in it than I thought it did.
Yeah.
It
And
genuinely
it really
did,
put
yeah.
a lot of pressure on, and I see if that's kind of the way this kind of format's going with all those one drops that you had. There was another standout one drop in there as well.
The one,
green.
yeah, let me find them. The Placid Rotten Tail, which is a 1-mana fungus rabbit. It's just a 1/1 with vigilance, but whenever it has an ability for 3 mana, you can exile it from your graveyard and put 2 1/1 counters on target creature, which is sick.
Yeah.
Genuinely sick, especially with all these enduring wardens, bond wardens, because I didn't read the bottom half of it. When this creature dies, put the counters on it on another target creature you control, which you could just stack up your bond wardens super high, suicide him in, put the counters on something else. It made him really scary, low-key.
Yeah. Yeah. Those
Mhm.
cards like made the deck playable, basically. And
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah.
0 ones for one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
genuinely. It had a lot more play than I thought. I also had 2 of the signposts and comments, which I'll just mention because it's
They were insane.
They were
bonkers.
very good.
They
Yeah,
The
they were just
Botanical
good.
Brawler, the 2-mana 0/0. It's basically a 2-mana 2/2. Whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on something, if it's the first time you put that counter on that thing this turn, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on the Brawler himself. So he like pops off low key, right?
Yeah, there's a green white battle that puts a 1/1 counter on all the creatures you control. So if you have like 4 dudes and he's one of them,
hmm
he gets the counter from that plus 3 more counters because you put him on your other dudes. Like he just grows so big.
He only gets he only gets one counter.
No, that's how you
That's
read it
what
the
I
first time you
thought.
read it, but read it
Really?
closely.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
Really?
Read it out
silly.
loud
Oh my
and read
gosh.
it closely because everyone is going to get this card wrong when they first look at it and play it.
Yeah, I definitely
On
did.
that permanent.
Yeah, just
Oh,
read it. Go
wow.
ahead and read it. Just read it.
Okay. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on another permanent you control, if it's the first time a +1/+1 counter has been put on that permanent this turn, put a 1/1 counter on botanical. That is
On
much-
that permanent.
on
yeah.
that permanent.
On
Yeah,
that
so
permanent.
nutty.
So if you put
Wow.
3 counters on 3 different permanents, that gets 3 1/1 counters.
Wow.
I was definitely playing it super wrong till Ryan played it again.
Yeah.
He embodied me with it. Like,
Clearly, I
low-key.
played it wrong as well, and man, that is insane.
It was
Pretty
so
good.
good in the deck. Like
It definitely, yeah. I definitely had some sus cards in this deck. Like Ryan pointed one out, the Phyrexian Censor, the 2 and a white. It's a wizard, and each player can't. Its text is each player can't cast more than 1 non-Phyrexian spell each turn. Which my deck is full of non-Phyrexian 1-drops,
Yeah.
right? Like it's kind of suicide to even play him,
Yeah.
but he's also kind of sick too.
he's a 3/3 for 3. But like he sabotaged the deck. At least like the way I was trying to play it. Like Robi kept saying, "You're doing it wrong. That's not how you play the deck." And I'm like, "Just chill, baby bird." And it ended up being sick. Like I think I piloted it okay. Like it was
Yeah.
just different from the way that you guys did it.
Mhm.
For sure. Like I was just dumping my hand and just going in
Yeah.
as hard as I could, genuinely, and just trying to like get as much pressure on your opponent to where they like didn't feel safe ever attacking, and like you had to got to really pressure them. And Omori was kind of sick too. I definitely played him for 5 mana like the first 3 times I played him because I thought there's no way that this 4/5 only costs 4 mana.
It cost 7.
He got 7. Yeah, really, because you
But
got to
like
take him out
yeah,
of exile, right?
Yeah.
So the Amori, is he in the set or is he?
So there's in this set, there's like in Strixhaven, there was Mystical Archives.
Yeah.
In Brothers War, there was the artifacts thing. There's like a legendary thing in the set where you can just every pack contains like a random legend. You can pull a Ragavan in a draft pack.
Wow.
And,
Yeah, it's silly.
yeah, and
All the companions are there.
all the companions are there. All the like Theros Beyond Death, like random uncommon demigods are there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like a bunch of cycles of cards there.
Yeah, it's like kind of weird and doesn't make a ton of sense, but it's there. It's kind of really fun, honestly. Like,
Did you kind of like that when you guys were drafting Strixhaven? That kind of extra spice in there.
yeah,
I did.
I loved it genuinely. I think that this one might warp the format more because,
Yeah.
like, you don't just like build your deck around one
Random sorcery.
random sorcery, right?
Yeah.
Like you can, right? Like there are
I
some.
mean, what if it's demonic tutor? You know, or
You
what
don't
if
build your deck around demonic
you
tutor,
just have it
right?
there to
You
make
just
your
have
deck
it there
better?
to make your deck better.
Yeah, okay.
Like the only one that really was like that was like either Nivix Mastery was one,
Yeah.
or Approach of the Second Sun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which
But-
also you can just have that there too. Like Approach of the Second Sun. Like it was
Yeah.
good enough. You just have it there.
Yeah, genuinely. It just won you the game
Yeah.
sometimes. A non-zero amount of times. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was like my main fun deck that I built. Tell us about one of yours, Ryan.
I'm gonna start with my deck that was a big disappointment.
Yeah, this was. I was curious about.
I
this
think
too.
it's still gonna like. I still think it's gonna be a good deck. I want to preface it with that. I just think that because of the way that it works on Draft Sim and because of how I drafted it the first time doing it, it didn't turn out. You know, it's like baking cookies. And I just didn't put enough of one ingredient in. Okay, so it's white blue knights, and I learned that it's kind of very important to double spell in this deck, which isn't super intuitive until you've drafted it once, because there's two marquee uncommons. Okay,
The Lord, right?
there's no, not the Lord. The Lord's good too, but I'm talking about other ones. So there's this card called Tiller of Flesh. It's 3 and a white for a 2/4 Phyrexian Knight. Whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more permanents, incubate 2. So all your removal
Whoa.
incubates 2. All of your buffs
That's silly. I didn't.
incubate 2.
That's an uncommon.
That's an uncommon.
Wow.
What? How much mana does it cost?
4 for a 2/4. It's
Goodness.
fairly
That's-
statted.
Yeah.
And all of your removal and
Wow.
all of your spells that target things incubate 2. So
So that's how you were just having all those incubate tokens?
no,
open?
that was a
Oh.
different deck. I had those because of Glissa.
Okay, yeah. That's a different
Yeah, that's
can
pretty
of worms.
Okay, so that card is insane, but like I got them late and I didn't realize that they were like a thing because I wasn't prepared enough, right? But now that I do, like I'll play like random bad buffs for one, right?
Yeah.
If I have them.
Yeah.
Okay. The other reason that you want to play bad buffs for one is there's this card called Xerex Strobe Knight. It's 2 and a blue for a 2/2 Flying Vigilance. Human Knight. You can tap it and create a 2/2 blue and white knight creature token with Vigilance only if you've cast 2 or more spells this turn.
Huh.
So basically, because of those two uncommons, and they're very, very strong, I think, they both create extra bodies.
Mhm.
They both do, like, they're both finely stat. Like a 2/2 Flying Vigilance for 2, you would play that anyway. And if it's pumping out knights after it attacks because it has vigilance, that's insane. But you have to support it with like very cheap buffs or cantrips or whatever. And I think those are important. Also, like the 3/1 knight. So there's this 3/1 for 2, colorless and a white, and it's a knight. And this is why I think the deck's gonna be good, because this card was insane when I did it, and it felt like Eye of Malcator almost. It's like it's a
That's
3/1
funny.
for 2, and whenever you play a knight, like as long as you play a knight, it has first strike. So every turn you just chain knights, and you're just going in with your 3/1 first strikers, and they just can't do anything about it, really. You know what I mean? Like it's just sick. It's a 2-drop.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna
Eye
have
of
Goblin
Malcator.
Picker. You have Eye of
Heard it
Malcator.
first here.
And the other superstar in the deck that I thought was very good is another common. It's a 3/4 for 3 and a blue. So
Uh-huh.
it's a 3/4 for 4. When it enters the battlefield, as long as you control another knight, you tap another creature and put a stun counter on it.
Ooh.
Ooh,
It's like
that's
Chillbringer.
It's just like Chillbringer.
Oh,
How
man.
bad is it?
It's a 3/4 for 4.
That's like even cheaper than Chillbringer, right?
Yeah, well, Chillbringer was
Yeah,
5,
five,
but it was a
yeah.
flyer. But it only puts a stun counter on it if you have another knight. If you don't have another
What-
knight, you still get a tap.
What am
something.
I thinking of? I'm thinking of like the Yeti from Cow Time.
Mm.
What's that called? Bergstrider.
Yeah, Bergstrider. It's like Bergstrider.
Yeah. Except cheaper.
Well,
One
It's
cheaper.
not-
yeah,
as
yeah,
big,
yeah, and it's not as big, but I still think it's very good.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
And that's, I think, the like main package. Like there's some other stuff you can do. There's a 4-drop guy that I'm super excited about too. That is a 2/2 that just makes a 2/2. I think that's gonna be super sick.
Ryan was telling me about that. I don't believe him. He was
Fake
telling me
news, fake
that was
news.
the best comment.
Let's okay. Remember
Enduring Bond Wardens better.
Oh my gosh.
remember Imperial Oath?
Yeah.
Where you put 2/2 vigilances or 3/2 vigilances for 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you
This is-
scribed 3.
This is 2/3 of that for 2/3 of the price.
Right,
It's
3 2.
2 vigilances for
Yeah.
4.
And that's it. You don't get to scry 3.
That's it.
Which
That's
is
all.
like
Scry
drawing
3
2
is,
cards low key.
Remember how last set there was a 3 and a 1/1 for 4? That was like one of the best commons. This is the same stats.
Do you feel as cozy as you did casting an Imperial Oath? Casting that card
Kinda.
up?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't got to play it yet.
No.
I haven't got to do the thing yet.
No.
I was quick drafting this week. I got to play some Imperials
Oh
again.
yeah,
Felt
good.
good.
Kamigawa. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
definitely.
oh yeah, it was great. I was like, how many Imperials can I get in this deck?
Yeah, 7.
7.
Seven's the. Was it 6 or 7? I keep misquoting it, but yeah.
It was a hell of a bunch of them.
So Ryan just talked about his biggest disappointment, which was the Knights deck,
Yeah.
because he didn't think he built it right. My biggest disappointment was for sure, is it just like, I don't know. I probably built it wrong too. I've had like 4 preening champions, which is the 3-mana 2/2 flyer that makes a 1/1. And like it kind of felt okay, but like they were kind of meant nothing compared to everyone's like 800,000 incubation tokens. I don't know. It just like didn't come together for me. I don't know what I did wrong.
I think you have to convoke with it. I think you have to do lots of convoke stuff.
I was trying, right? Like I had like City on Fire, which is the 8 mana, which we all learned today was an 8 mana mega kill your opponent bomb.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's 8 mana. It has convoke. And it says, if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead, which is a shit ton. I need the sensor.
Yeah.
I need the sensor button. Yeah, but it's a ton. Like you just get way too much value. Like,
Triple is so much.
yeah, genuinely. I swung in with 2 3/3s, and my opponent was at 18 life and didn't have a blocker. And they just instantaneously died. like that's all it takes. Another funny thing I had in this deck though was I had Squee, which is hilarious. The 2/1. It's a 3 mana double red 2/1 that you can just cast from anywhere. You can cast it from your graveyard or from exile. So it's just like literally unkillable. And that was kind of cute. But yeah, it didn't really come together for me. I even had like a bomb, like the Chrome Host Seed Shark, which I think is like probably the best reason to do it. The Is It thing. It's a 3 mana 2/4 flyer, which is already like low key super good. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. But I never even got to play with it. But I will say that Invasion of Kaladesh felt like an Omega trap.
Really?
Yeah.
What does it do?
It's the 2 mana battle that makes a 1/1 flying Thopter. And whenever you flip it over, it's a vehicle that's a 1/4. That's a 0/4. It's basically a 1/4 because it gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. It felt kind of bad. Did you play it, Ryan? Did you
I
play
did
the
not.
Izzet deck? Did you
No,
play
I didn't
against
get
it?
to.
Yeah.
No.
It kind of felt like super non like
It's built around you, right? Like you have to have artifacts, right?
Yeah, but like even so, like I thought it would be like easier to like activate these battles. It could have been that everyone was just playing like super creature decks, like a million incubation tokens everywhere, but it felt kind of hard. Like I know you get the one to get in on it, but like it doesn't feel like Izzet has like a super good way to get in on it.
They have flyers, right? And they have that
Yeah.
prowess trample guy. Like maybe that's what they're good at. Maybe they're good at like attacking battles.
Maybe so. Because they have
I
so
know
much
Red
evasion,
has
right?
like the best battle killers for sure. like
Yeah.
like definitely, but
So what does Wizards say like we should be drafting when it's like the red blue deck? Was it Convoke?
I have no idea.
I
Yeah.
don't know either.
Okay.
But
You know, there's
Yeah.
sometimes there's a little help.
I'm sure there is, but
one
Yeah.
super standout card, and it might actually be like a Knights card, low key, is the Zalfarin Shapecraft. Y'all need to actually draft this card because it's actually good.
cap.
No, it's good. The
Yeah.
2 mana, so it's 2 mana. Target creature has base power and toughness 4/3 until end of turn.
Draw a card.
Draw a card, which is good, right?
Like it turns your it's like +2/+1 and draw a card a lot of the
So-
time. Like maybe in the Izzet deck
That's
where you have a
ki-
bunch of 1/1s.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah, or like if you want a double spell every turn, right?
I played a couple in this Knights deck, and like just the buff wasn't as good as like there's like a +2/+2 and flying for 2 that you can convoke, and that card just seemed like it would have been way better than that.
Really? Like not having the draw card?
Yeah, because like all my knights have vigilance, like I could swing and then convoke, and like I don't know, like the knights seemed like they would work well with convoke too, because there's a ton of vigilance going on there.
Huh.
But like I did put some of those in there, but maybe I just didn't draw them. I don't know. Like it never seemed that good, but it didn't seem bad. Like
Yeah.
it seemed fine.
Yeah, I was pretty good with like the flyers in here.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it even really wants the 2/2 make a 1/1 flyer guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there must be like an artifacts deck somehow. That's what that signpost is pointing to, right?
Yeah, like go wide. You played Lithomantic Barrage too, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
The 1 mana, the spell can't be countered. It deals 1 damage to target creature or planeswalker. It deals 5 damage instead if that target is white and or blue.
I think it's worth it. Like I think it was good enough, and like 1 damage just finish stuff off of your opponent's not in white or blue, right?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
whatever. That
But
doesn't
you
feel
know,
good.
like we're also kind of like Omega biased because every single one of us brought a deck that had a Thalia in it.
Yeah.
so like after like getting beat down by Thalias all night long, like having a 1 mana way to kill Thalia is so sick. It felt like Hex Gold Slash.
I didn't feel like we were
Like-
punished in this set for going multiple colors, though.
Yeah, I think you'll play just as many, if not more, 3-color decks than you'll play 2-color decks in this format.
It felt kind of free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if a deck's 3 colors and your card can hit 2 colors, there's a pretty high chances that your card's gonna be able to hit a lot of the decks you play.
I think so too, because like it feels like there's so many disgusting, filthy bombs in this set.
Yeah.
Even like the uncommons are disgusting, filthy bombs.
So
too,
would you
right?
say it's a bomb-heavy set?
Maybe.
Not yet.
I got a
Like,
maybe already. We're going.
I ain't
We're
busting
getting
my
there.
nut that quick.
We played several cards tonight that were like very good bombs, and the only one that felt crushingly unbeatable was Andrew's like Incubate X one.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
Yeah, the glistening dawn.
Yeah. Like I played like you can make like X knights for X and a white and a blue, and you make 2/2 knights, and then you can kill that battle and it's Teferi.
Mm-hmm.
I played Glissa that like every turn incubates 2 twice, and then you can transform all incubation tokens, and it's like a 3/5. We played Thalia and Get Rock Monster. We played all kinds of stuff that was like just game breakingly, like it seemed like crazy, and it didn't ever outright win the game, except for like even the triple damage didn't outright win the game because you have to tap your board to do it. Like you give your opponent a turn to react.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But like that was just so backbreaking too, because it's like if you have sorcery speed, you need 2 pieces of instant speed removal.
Yeah.
Like to even do anything against it, right?
Yeah, and like it's like I don't know. They're just so big. Like not even every color can deal with it.
Yeah, for sure. Like you have bounce spells, but like the bounce spells, I don't know if it could just be draft sim. This is a draft sim problem too, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
like they could have been just being like gobbled up way too early. But yeah, it felt like impossible to deal with this
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell us about your other deck, Ryan.
Okay.
Or wait, do you have one, Andrew?
I was going to say
Go
my
ahead.
biggest disappointment was not making more than just one deck. Even though I was specifically told in the text to
You
make
was
3 decks
specifically told.
and say, y'all better catch up
I
because I'm
even
making more
made
decks.
extras for him, like for sure. Like,
But I did get to see one of the ones that I really liked that I saw tonight that gave my deck a run for the money and just was actually bullying the table pretty bad too. Was this Rakdos deck that it was Ryan, right? You made this deck, and there were some standouts in here that I just were. First off, City on Fire,
scary, horrifying.
yeah, triple red and 5 for an enchantment has Convoke, so it gets the get Convoke is where you can tap your creatures and help pay for this spell. So if you have a red guy, you can tap 1 red guy, it takes the red off.
It's like
you know,
5 mana, right?
Yeah,
Is that how like what's the average cost we're like seeing this played for?
I don't know. I saw him do it on 4 like actual mana here, and then tapping 4 creatures,
Oh
tapping
my
3 creatures. It
gosh,
was about
that's-
5 though. 5 was I think was
Yeah.
there, and you were
That's a
Because you want to keep a body or 2 up to swing with immediately. Like
Yeah,
your best
yeah.
dude to swing with immediately,
Yeah.
even if it's not lethal.
yeah. So what it does is we could get to that is if a
triple
source
damage.
yeah
We
if-
already read it once.
okay good
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
All right,
triples the damage, and it's an enchantment.
It's
Yes.
enchantment.
There's
So,
another card in the deck though that was kind of similar that I thought was very good. And it's an equipment. 5 mana artifact equipment, gives +3/+1 in trample, and it has convoke, equip for 2. +3/+1 in trample, equip for 2 is like insane.
that seems kind
So
of
it's a Remrosian Greatsword.
Yeah.
let me read the actual name of it. No, I think Andrew did fine. Rimrosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't played this
Andrew
game
did
a
fine.
while. I think that's what it is, right?
Remosian, yeah.
I do
don't know.
have to say, Andrew, the entire time we were telling Andrew to do stuff on DraftSim, he was like, "Yeah, draftism, draftism.com," right? Had me done. Yeah.
Another kind of standout in this Rakdos deck that I saw, and this is going to go back to incubation might be good, but it's a Ichor Drinker. 1 black for a 1/1 lifelink Phyrexian Vampire. For 1 black, you can exile it from your graveyard. Incubate 2. Activate only as a sorcery. Very important. People are going to always forget that. It happens. It's a new set, so you got to, these activated only as a sorcery just kind of blend in there. But that guy, pretty good.
Yeah. He was very good for a 1-drop, I thought.
Yeah.
I will say, like, all the 1-drops I saw tonight seemed like very, very strong.
I have one that's not that good. It's right there on top of that deck. This is a 1/1 for 1. You can pay 1 in a red, sack an artifact or land, and draw a card.
That seems bad.
I think it'd be fine late game, but like it's kind of the opposite of
Picker.
all the other. No, because you sack lands to draw cards.
But that's what Goblin Picker did, right?
No, they let you discard.
Oh,
No,
just
you would
discard.
discard.
Yeah.
But
Those are usually fun.
this is like a 1-drop that's like only good late game, which is like what you never want.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing about the 1-drops that exile themselves from graveyards, like they felt like relevant early and late too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sick.
Yeah.
Right?
Another
You get a couple points.
Another standout was in this deck was Kenrith Spell Spear. It's a 1 colorless, 1 red, or a Jackal Warrior. It's a 2/2 trample prowess, and then it also has this another. It's kind of a key thing in this set is where it transforms with Phyrexian mana. So this will be 3 and 1 Phyrexian blue, so you can pay either 2 life or a blue mana, and then it would flip to a 3/3 with trample,
Double
prowess. Yeah. Prowess, and when it
Ward 2.
Ward 2. And is this the one that connected? You could draw a card?
No.
Okay, that's
There's
a-
another
That's
one.
the-
That's
Okay,
also
okay.
good.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
was
black
insane
guy,
too.
The black guy.
Yeah. But this was just so good. And it just gave you something to do on turn 2, turn 3, you're flipping, and you're getting in. Very strong.
Yeah, like any card that lets you like do your turn 2 and turn 3.
Yeah.
Or turn 1 and turn 3, or turn 2 and turn 4. Like all these flip cards, I felt like were like very good.
How often did you pay Phyrexian mana to do that?
I paid 2 life for it every time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I paid 2
Yeah.
life for it every time. Hyper vulnerable to removal in response to you transforming.
Fair.
Hyper vulnerable.
Yeah,
that's
activate
true.
only as a sorcery. These
Activate
flipping-
only as a sorcery,
Yeah.
pay 2 life, have 2 turns undone by a
Yeah.
shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But upside is high.
Yeah.
hmm
Double prowess.
Yeah,
I love the way they worded that. It's
Prowess.
so funny.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that just warms my heart seeing double prowess. Like, just the way they put it is so funny.
Yeah, that card was insane. It's like almost unblockable. Like it's a 3/3 with trample ward 2. If you have any mana up, it's a 5/5. Like, right? Or even a 7/7.
Yeah.
Like,
it was nutty.
The thing was really frightening.
yeah, it was sick. I think it might be one of the best 2-drops in the format.
I think you may be right. I heard you say it from across the room, and I was like, wow, this thing was pretty darn good.
Yeah,
it was so
I
mana
like
efficient.
this.
Like, really, I mean,
I like
gosh.
the other guy too, the other 1/1 Death Toucher for 2.
Yeah,
that
I'll take that.
transforms.
And that's the one that draws your
And to
card.
the one that draws a card.
And it's a 3/3
Yeah,
death
the
toucher.
3/3 Death
when it
yeah,
Toucher.
connects.
so
Yep.
yeah, it's
What's its name?
it is Etherblade Agent.
Yeah, that card was.
And so it transforms for 4 in a Phyrexian blue.
Like the one you had in your all creature deck that was like white and red. It was like white on the front, and then it makes a copy of
Oh,
itself.
that one was nutty too, surprisingly. Like let me pull the Sunblessed Guardian.
Yeah, that card was insane.
Yeah, it like doubles itself. Like I'll have the backside right here.
It's
But,
a
like-
3/3 trample, and whenever it attacks, you create a copy of it and then you put the same amount of 1/1 counters on top of it.
Which was like so unbelievably nutty with the Botanical Brawler. It wasn't even funny.
Yeah.
Like it just like beat down, and then it exiles itself at the end of the turn. It sacrifices
Yeah,
itself.
because there's a 0/1 that you put the counter on the
Yeah,
guy.
whenever it dies and you get the counter back on something else, it was nutty. And I
Yeah.
didn't even like know that interaction could exist in my deck until Ryan did it against me. Like,
It was insane though, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now you know we kind of like our removal here. How was Volcanic Spite in this deck?
Amazing. to see.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt good. Even when I was getting it played against me, I was like, that's probably feeling good. And then I saw you tuck a card,
Yeah.
drawing another card, and it's kind of cool. Is it going to be relevant to deal 3 damage to a battle?
I mean, I don't see why not. Like,
Yeah.
imagine that your opponent has like one of the very good battles.
Yeah.
Right. And then at the end of your turn, they just kill it and now they can use it on their turn.
yeah,
Like, that's going
yeah.
to be so dumb.
I think it's going to be really good.
But,
Yeah. How do we feel about battles overall?
like, I still feel, and I don't know if I've ever verbalized this on the pod. I don't think I have. But, like, I feel like they have to be relevant enough on the front side to be worth playing.
I tend to agree, actually. Like, you want to pay that for the spell itself. right?
Yeah. Like you're
Yeah.
casting a sorcery, basically, right?
Yeah, that's how they felt. I kept putting him in my graveyard on accident, like because they felt like they would just feel like a sorcery.
Because he knew he was never attacking into me.
Sometimes
never
feel
ever
they
was.
I felt like they slowed down the game a little bit, but sometimes it just felt right when you're just like, especially the ones that could destroy something or could destroy a creature, and that was good because you're like, okay, I'll destroy your only blocker, tack with my other guys into it, flip it immediately. And so it just felt like a Shriek Maw or like a skull. It was a Flesh Renderer, like those kind of cards where they would always like Flame Tongue Kapu.
Yeah.
It felt like that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to flip it immediately was disgusting.
Robi and I talked about that a little bit last night.
Uh-huh.
We kind of said basically the exact same thing you said, that where battles that kind of enable themselves to be flipped are going to be better.
Absolutely.
Like whether they add to the board, like we kind of thought, we theorized that the one he talked about being bad earlier was going to be good because it gave you like a flyer to chip in at it.
Yeah.
It kind of like
Yeah,
takes care of
but
itself.
like it was
eventually.
actually really bad.
The payoff wasn't good enough.
It wasn't
payoff's
good
bad,
enough.
yeah.
You
The
have to
payoff
work
wasn't
for
good
it.
enough.
Yeah.
So you have to recognize if the payoff's not good enough, then the front side better be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one wasn't, because
Yeah.
it was just like 2 colored mana to make a 1/1 flyer. It just was absolutely not worth it.
But there's like a white-black one that I had in this deck, and it is a battle. I have a deck that's like white, black, splash, and green, blue, and it was kind of insane. I just had a billion rares. But it's a battle. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. It's called Invasion of New Capenna. It's an uncommon. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. When you do, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. So like already, basically Bone Splinters.
Yep.
Yeah.
It costs 2 mana. right?
Exiles. When it has 4, it costs 2 mana, and then it has 4 damage counters on it. And then when you defeat it, you flip it, and it's an equipment for 1 that whenever equipped creature you control attacks, put a 1/1 counter on every creature that shares a type with the equipped creature. So all of your incubate dudes get
Yeah.
a bonus counter. All of your 2/2 knights get a bonus counter. Like that was kind of insane sometimes. Equipped for 1.
That one. So you actually got to play with that too? 'Cause
Yeah.
I was thinking that one was insane. Like,
So
yeah.
I played it with I made like 4 2/2 knights, and I just like killed it and then equipped the knight, and they're like 3/3 vigilances, 4/4 vigilances. Like it was just so dumb. It was just ridiculous.
It
And I also
seemed
did it with
bloody.
Phyrexian, the incubation tokens, and it was like I just had 2 incubation tokens, and like a 3/3 and a 4/4, then a 4/4 and a 5/5. Like it was just stupid.
Jeez.
I will say one battle that like played differently in both decks, that because so I had also ended up building a Demir deck, and I put this battle in there too that was also in my Izzet deck, was the Invasion of Arcavios, which is the 5 mana one that lets you find any instant or sorcery spell
Mhm.
from literally anywhere ever, like
Yeah.
outside the game even, like, yeah, which is funny. But it felt way worse in the black blue deck than it did in the red blue deck. Like, I don't know if it's even worth it. But flipping it was obscene because it copies all of your instants or sorceries that you cast, which is omega stupid.
For 1, don't you have to tap it or no?
No, it just does that.
Mm.
On the flip side just you get a copy of every instant or sorcery that you play.
That's insane.
That
It
seems
was-
pretty
it
good.
was so unbelievably nutty and good in
Yeah.
red blue. and absolute dog water in blue black, like so bad, genuinely.
So
It
that's
felt
like
terrible.
that's like the example of what we were kind of against, right? Like it's the front side is like really not that good unless you have like a bomb, instant, or sorcery.
Yeah.
But the back side of it was insane, and like
It was kind of nice, just like in red blue, because like I had like specific answers, like getting the 1 mana thing that killed Thalia,
yeah,
the Hex Gold Slash of this format. Like
that's
just
wild stuff.
Hex Gold Slash, yeah.
It's not.
How many saga? How many battles do you think you need in a deck? Or if you're gonna play some battles, like what's the cap? You think?
I don't know. I
Battle
don't think there
just
is
a
a
little bit.
cap.
No, I think
there's got to be
there's
a
a
cap.
cap.
There's gotta
Battles
be a
are
cap.
like buffs, right? Like if you don't have enough creatures, you can't really flip the battles,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good way to put that, Loki. Like I didn't even think of it that way. Like that you have to have creatures to even enable playing them in the first place. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Like if you want to flip them. I
If
guess
you want
you
to
don't
flip them.
always want to flip them. Like you don't. I mean, you want to, but you
Yeah.
don't always care to. I guess.
Yeah.
There's some kind of sneaky ways to get those counters off him, like volcanic spite. There's the green guy that can tap to untap.
There's the
a-
black one that draw a card, remove 5 counters from something for 3.
Yeah, there's some ways to deal with them.
But I still think maybe because you got to figure them as sorceries or something like that. Like, how many do you really want to play? Like 10 of them would probably be too much. Maybe
I would
unless
say
they're the right ones.
I don't
maybe.
yeah,
know.
like obviously, like every rule was just made to be broken, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
But like I'm not right now looking to put more than 3 or 4 of them in my deck. Like,
That's
and
where
that
I'm
feels
at.
like kind of a lot. to
I'm
me.
looking to put 10 plus.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be the first one out of all of us to have the deck. Like nothing would make me happier than to just only have a deck full of battles. Like that would be the funniest thing in the world.
Well, it'd be
to
funny
me.
because you'd be a pacifist because you wouldn't be able to finish any of the battles, right?
Someone make creatures. Someone make creatures.
That
Like there's
thopter
some
went a
real
long
things.
way.
That thopter, like definitely that would be the worst way
yeah,
to
that
do
was
it.
do it 1 damage at a time, boy.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know when I build the very
Oh, man.
first all battles deck.
Do you guys think the days of curving out are over? Or you still think that's important?
I did it
No
the
way,
very
yeah.
first game I played. Like when I just went like 1 drop into 2 drop into 3 drop into like 2 drops into 2 1 drops and a 2 drop.
Yeah, it
and
felt
like,
pretty
just-
alive in that game.
It was obscene.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's very important to curve out in this set with 2 and 3
I
drops.
think the 1 drops
especially.
in this set
Yeah.
are just so good. I think they are. I really do. You're making that face, but I mean, how many? What
I
color
just
what color
this
does it have in this
data.
one?
Yeah, very good is such a strong thing to say.
Ryan, you
just do so
played with
much.
the insanest 1 drops ever.
I'm good, but I'm good though.
Get out of here.
Like I make
Get
all of them
out
look
of here.
good.
Get out of here. Yeah.
They're definitely playable, which is like a step up from a lot of sets. Like
Mhm.
I'll admit that right now, like I definitely think they're playable, but I don't think you're just slapping them in any deck just cause.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're at that level yet.
Nah, I don't think so. Okay.
Yeah. So one
This
question I
isn't
have
Brothers
to you
War,
guys.
right? Where
Right.
every 1 drop is like,
Or
Oh,
even
man.
all will be one, right? Where you're just playing 1 drop so you don't get crawling chorused.
Yeah.
oh,
Like it's not that important to have a 1 drop as it was
Yeah.
in the last set.
So do we as a podcast believe that mill can be a real thing in this set? I tried it today. I feel like I didn't go in as hard as I needed to, but I definitely think it could low-key be a thing.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I don't
feels
know
like
how,
some
how you do it.
lone wolf kind of things there.
I don't know. Like I was just playing the blue and black cards, and it kind of just made you mill.
Yeah.
There's lots of weird lifelink stuff too, right?
There's a lot of weird grab stuff from your opponent's graveyard stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't
use
know.
their stuff.
What I saw you do it, and it was Halo
so
Forger,
good.
which
Okay.
I didn't have, which is insane. Yeah,
Yeah, so I have this card called Halo Forager.
Mhm.
yeah,
It's a
Forager,
yes.
not Forger.
Forger.
It ain't a dwarf.
1 and a blue black for a 3/1 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value X from a graveyard without paying its mana cost from a graveyard.
Yeah, I watched Ryan commit some crimes against humanity with that card for sure. Like it looked disgusting from a spectator point of view.
5 mana, 3/1 that deals 3 damage to any target was very good.
It's like Snapcaster made, but better because it has flying.
And it can use your opponent's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed very good,
It's-
Loki.
Costs 1 more than Snapcaster. It doesn't have flash.
But it has flying.
But it's
It's like a real actual threat. A 3/1 flyer is horrifying.
And there's enough 2 and 1 mana value things that's like makes it fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly 2 though.
It looked so good when he played it. It's just like nuke the board.
Like it was a 2 for 1, right?
Yeah,
Like it was a
Yeah,
2
it's
for
2
1.
for 1.
And could it be better? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could also be worse.
Yeah. It definitely seemed very good.
Yeah, you have to support it. Or you have to just hope
So
your
does it
opponent
exile the card from the
Yeah,
other
after
graveyards?
you play it, it's
That's kind of like a nice little touch too.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like anti-synergy with the rest of Dimir, like wanting things to be a certain amount of cards in your opponent's graveyard, but I don't think it really matters because you're whooping them.
I'm curious if you guys think this card is good. It's
Alright.
called Searing Barb. 2 colorless and a red for a sorcery. It's a common. It deals 2 damage to any target. If it's a creature, it can't block this turn. Incubate 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. Like a 1/1 that deals 2 for 3, you would play that for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like it's not quite that, obviously. 'cause
It's
you
like a
have to-
1/1 that costs 5.
Yeah.
It's like a 5 mana 1/1 that deals 2 damage to something.
The secret thing is like almost all of the sack outlets let you sack just artifacts. So
Yeah.
you don't even have to transform it and you can just like get rid of the incubate 1
Yeah.
little
Mhm.
egg and
Yeah.
like get
Yeah.
hella value for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it seemed pretty good, but I will say like it's kind of stuck in my hands sometimes.
Yeah.
Or like I had to kind of swing into stuff to
I
like try to
felt
finish
like
it off.
that with the 1 mana spell too, that just dealt 1 damage. Like sometimes it definitely just sat there and rotted away.
Yeah, but when I kill Thalia, it's like
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
so yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it here, Mill's a thing.
Mill's not.
Bill's not a thing.
Mill's gonna be a thing.
Stop trying to make
Just
Bill
get
a thing.
just get 8 cards in your opponent's graveyard. That's good enough.
Yeah, it kind of did feel like that. I definitely had there's some things I care about that.
Make them
I
remember their
remember.
Thalia triggers.
yeah. Yeah, Ryan beat me in the game. And then afterwards he was like, "Oh, it wasn't a May ability that you have to sack and draw a card." I went
cheated
balls to
twice.
the wall. Yeah, he did.
Not on purpose.
I definitely
First time playing the cards. They're not even released yet.
actively committed suicide by playing Sizan Perverter of Truth against the all creature deck. Which it's a 5 mana 6/5 that at the beginning of each player's upkeep, you basically what's that spell? Sign in blood before you draw. So you
Yeah.
draw 2 cards and
Yep.
lose 2 life, which is kind of sick with the mill plan, low key.
Yeah.
But like not really, because I have to like literally fade all the cards that you draw.
Right.
It was kind of suicide. It almost worked. It would have worked if
Mill decks aren't good when you have to like fade their whole deck.
Yeah.
Like,
that's kind of the problem, right? Because like all the mill is mega symmetrical.
yeah.
So you had to do like weird things to like put more cards back in the bottom of your graveyard and stuff. Like it was weird for sure. I'm not convinced it's
So-
completely a thing, but it was fun.
What's the over under on Robi getting a 3 wins deck on Mill? Like how many weeks?
I got
is
it
it
in
gonna be?
Demir, the worst.
How many
card
weeks
for
is it going to be,
format.
Ryan? What's the over under on that?
He's not gonna draft it that much in person. He'll do
Nah,
it. He'll do it on Arena though.
He'll do it. He'll well,
I'll
jam it on.
force it on Arena for like 6 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Like the entire time it's in Quick Draft.
I say week 3.
Ooh, I am so excited about this set,
Yeah.
It's fun. It's extremely complicated.
which I love.
Yeah, there's
I love it
so
too,
many
right?
keywords in this set. It's going to be a little toughy those first couple weeks when everybody's still really learning the cards, and they're going to be seeing so many other cards because of the outside cards with the like kind of mystical archive type cards with all these legendaries kind of roaming about there.
Yeah, I feel like I read a whole book tonight.
Yeah, I read like
Yeah.
8 books, bro.
Yeah.
like
Although I will say it felt pretty familiar by the end of the night.
Yeah,
You know, we
Yeah,
started
yeah.
jamming a few things. I was like, okay, this card's pretty decent.
We played a ton of games for sure.
we really did.
Like genuinely, we're all just like throwing our decks around
Yeah.
and stuff.
That was a good time.
Definitely fun to do it that way.
Yeah.
Like
Proxy them
Yeah.
up. Just kind of, it's kind of fun
yeah,
just to do a
definitely
pre.
draftism.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this.
I am
It'll be
too.
a nice refresher from where we were at before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we think it's like slower? It feels a lot slower.
It can be, but like
Yeah.
I feel like board presence is still super important.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's easy to get run over if you think it's too slow.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, I think are we getting close to out of time? What
We're-
time is it?
We're
An hour and a half. Okay.
at an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at an hour.
We're at 59 minutes.
Let's all give a piece of actionable advice for the pre-release on the spot. Just first thing that comes to your head, Andrew. Go. Actionable advice. What do I need to do in the pre-release to win a game?
Look at some incubation cards and really consider them when you're looking in your pre-release pack. Start sorting out those incubation cards.
Get bet. Robi.
Yeah.
What do I need to do?
Build around your best cards. Like,
Bomb
don't
heavy,
be
bomb heavy.
afraid. Don't be afraid to do a companion. Low key, if you get them, don't just be like, oh, this is terrible. Like, I have to do all these weird restrictions. If you have it, you have it. Try it.
Also, you
good.
can just jam it in your deck if you
You
don't
can
have it.
just jam it too. Like, Omari's fine. Like, it's a 4/5 for 4.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes creatures cost 1 less, which is sick, right?
Mine is play the flip creatures. I think they're super good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Play the flip creatures.
Yeah,
Pay
they've
the
been so
life. Make sure, be cautious about it,
Yeah.
but play them.
Mill
haven't
your
seen-
opponents out.
It's been a while since I've seen a really mana efficient set like this, where you just have a bunch of mana laying around and you're able to do stuff with it. You're either flipping
Feels
guys,
like
you're
you're like
incubating guys.
tapping out every single
It's
turn.
great.
Yeah,
It feels super dynamic.
And you're not doing nothing either. You're adding
Yeah.
to the board. You're changing your guys into threats, like your
Mhm.
commons into threats. You're just
Yeah.
every turn that you leave mana untapped, you kind of almost feel punished.
Yeah. It feels
Yeah.
like a 17 land kind of set. I felt like the last one felt like 16 land. I know this is a very hot take because we're just getting into this, but
Yeah.
last one felt like 16
14,
and
15.
lower.
14,
You know, you could do
15.
that. Brothers War was like 14 lands. You could probably get away with that. But
yeah, Brothers War for sure.
but this one, I just felt like I wanted more mana every time.
Bloodin felt real bad.
Well,
Bloodin felt real bad.
It feels like they just had like literally just put every single mechanic in a set that lets you spend mana instead of doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like there's like cycling, swamp cycling, like
Convoke.
convoke.
Yeah.
Like there's like all these activated abilities, like activating your incubation tokens. There's
Yeah.
just stuff to do with mana for sure.
I'm gonna definitely be looking for the 2-color lands when I open my sealed.
We
In
didn't
my
build one,
pre-release.
but I think there's going to be a disgusting ramp deck for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of decks that weren't able to
Yeah,
build.
we
yet.
like.
Well, the
There's
simulator just
definitely
didn't really.
limitations to
Yeah.
what we did.
Yeah.
I think you're not gonna get punished for 3 colors. I think. I really
Yeah.
think it's gonna happen.
I think
I think it's
Sealed,
going to happen
maybe even 4
way
colors.
more
Yeah.
in real life too, because I felt like Draft Sim definitely was low key
sniping those. cards.
sniping
Yes.
all the
Jeez.
dualies.
Like
from
skittering
us.
surveyors were going so fast in draft.
yeah, like they get picked up like third
Yeah,
or
they were
fourth pick.
nuts.
The last time they were in a set, they would go like bottom 6.
Yeah, they're definitely very good.
Good times.
Dune Mover Juniors, am I right?
Yeah, Dune River Jr. Yeah, not quite as good
yeah,
because
right.
they have Toxic, right?
Right, and it costs 3.
It's
No,
a
wait.
1/1.
It's
right?
a
Like,
1/2. I
it's a
think.
1/2.
we had a time yet?
Not quite as good as Doom.
Skittering surveyor looks up the Dune Mover.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
I guess. Because he's toxic.
Yeah,
Oh man.
basically Britney
He's
Spears.
toxic. He the bad boy. He get all the girls.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
And there's like other really good fixing that like they were taking. There's like a vehicle that like can tap
Yeah.
for 1 mana of any color. There's like
That I didn't see any of those, but that definitely seemed.
it's like a 2 mana vehicle that you crew for 1 and then it taps for 1 of any color.
It's like a springleaf drum.
So what's
Yeah.
the card that you guys are the most excited to play with? Just to like see, just to play with. I've got one that I desperately want to play with. The 3 mana Realm Breaker or whatever. The one that mills your opponent for 3, and you get to bring a land back from their graveyard onto the battlefield under your turn as like some weird, ridiculous pseudo ramp. That card seems so funny to me.
I'm still the common 2/2 that makes it 2/2.
That's the one card you want to play with.
Like
That's
that's
funny.
I'm like very excited to pull this Knights deck off, honestly.
Yeah, I want to play with some Volcanic Spite. I didn't get to play with it today, but I think I want to play with this more. That card
I got
looks
to play with it.
so
It seemed
saucy.
very good. Low key,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
drawing cards on your burn spells is so sick.
Yeah, looting.
Yeah, you
Goblin
gotta throw
picking.
something away.
There's this battle. I don't even remember. Oh, on the front, it's like a red-white one, and this is just from memory. So like, this is not going to be factually
makes
accurate.
disgusting 3/2s, right?
Yeah, the front side gives like 2 creatures +2/+0 and vigilance,
Mhm.
and then the back side makes 2 3/2s.
It's like 4 mana, right?
something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of.
The backside
that's a
makes
lot.
2 3/2s that whenever they attack with another creature, they get a counter.
Huh.
So they're 4 3s and they're 5 4s. So like it kind of enables itself by giving you like +2/+0 and vigilance to 2 dudes right off the bat, so you can just like bash into it, and then the 3/2s just grow forever. But like I
Yeah.
don't know if it's gonna be good enough after playing this, but I'm still kind of excited to try to make it work.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have a favorite card? Oh, Andrew already said one. No,
Yeah.
Spike.
Yeah.
Spike, yep. But yeah, if you have any questions, for sure, leave us comments.
Yeah.
Let us know if you like this format better too.
Yeah. Ask us some format specific questions too. That'd
And
be dope.
also, don't forget to do our set review because we put a lot of work into. By we, I mean literally Ryan. Literally Ryan.
Yeah.
Literally Ryan. I
Yeah.
tried my hardest, and I got like two cards done, and Ryan did like all of the rest.
Do the set review. Get familiar with the set before
Yeah.
it's going to give you some precious
We
time when
will
you're
actually
building your
help
sealed
you.
deck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did-
I mean,
did-
just-
Did we do that last week where we like gave a percentage that we thought it would help?
I think so.
Okay,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
very high.
Yeah, but
Like
it will
probably a lot.
do
Okay.
it for 2 reasons. One, reading every card and then going into the pre-release is going to get you excited. It's going to get you thinking before you get in there, right?
Worse.
Yeah.
And when you go in dry, it just takes way longer to build your deck. You don't know what's going on. Like you have to figure out the set at the same time that you're building your deck, and you're spending a lot of money to do the pre-release. So you might as well get the bang for your buck and like do your homework. And it doesn't take
Absolutely.
that long.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And then 2, like just knowing what kind of have an idea of what like your opponent might be able to do, it's just going to raise your percentage points, right?
Genuinely.
It's just good.
Genuinely. That's like what makes us good at draft, right?
Yeah.
Like just like knowing the cards that our opponent could have in their hand at any given time, right?
right.
It's like that ESP, right?
Like people kind of get mad at you at pre-releases sometimes. Like, oh, you already know what all these cards do? It's like, yeah, we just played with them for 4 hours tonight.
Yeah.
Like already.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some reps in here.
Yeah.
The other thing too is be respectful of your opponents.
Yeah,
whenever
for
you're
sure.
playing them too. Like flip your cards around so they can read them, and
Pre-releases are meant to be fun.
Yeah.
You don't have to spike
you
every
don't have to
pre-release.
spike them. I never do because I always lose, except exactly the last one I did.
Yeah, the last one we did really. Yeah, I think we all did decent.
Yep.
But yeah, do that. The links are in the Discord, and then we might post them somewhere else. But there's like a set review channel in the Discord with all the links to do every one of the set reviews, like every color. It's a Google form. It looks nice.
I made.
I
a
work
cute
hard on
little
it.
thing.
Robi spruced it up.
That's my job. Make it look cute.
Oh man.
Make it silly.
I spent over an hour just making the double face cards readable.
Oh, yeah.
my gosh.
You did a great job on that, Junior. Yeah, but it's like super convenient. Nobody literally has anything done this well. So like, if you're gonna do it, you want to get better. It's fun. It's kind of fun to just go through them.
Yeah, and if you put your email in it, like we're not gonna ever send you anything with that. It just sends you a copy of your. It
We aren't
sends you a
smart
copy of
enough
your
to
results.
do that.
Yeah.
like
we're not trying to
believe us. We
advertise.
totally
Yeah.
sell all your information, but we don't know how.
It's like a Google form, right? Like Google just
Yeah.
sends you a copy of
Yeah.
your responses for your records if
Yeah.
you want it.
And just do the captchas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. I think that's all we got this week.
Yeah.
You guys all good?
Yeah.
Yep.
See you at the pre-release.
Yep. Sounds good. Bye.
Catch you boys on the flippity flop.